Some mansions sit proudly on maps, visible, named, claimed. And then there are the ones that vanish into whispers and legend. She was the richest girl in the world, but what Doris built defied wealth. It was a world of her own making, a riddle wrapped in marble, sea spray and silence, a secret masterpiece, stitched together by obsession. Born in 1912, Doris Duke was never meant to live a normal life. Her father, James Buchanan Duke, one of the most powerful industrialists in American history, founded the American Tobacco Company and Duke Energy. He poured his into institutions like Duke University, named after the family. When he died in 1925, Doris was just 12, but his death transferred an estimated $80 million into her hands, an inheritance equivalent to over $1 billion today. People expected a spoiled socialite, a pampered icon. Instead, Doris played the game by her own strange rules. She was fiercely private, elusive, and unpredictable. The tabloids chased her yacht sightings. The public wondered why someone so young, so wealthy, and so beautiful, and seemed to be running from everything. She traveled alone, made sudden moves, and bought properties in faraway lands. Her choices didn't scream wealth, they whispered obsession. But obsession with what? Few knew that even as a teenager, Doris was studying the art and architecture of worlds far removed from Park Avenue and Newport mansions. And when she married an aspiring politician named James Cromwell in 1935, she saw their honeymoon as something far more than a romantic escape. It became a quest. She wasn't searching for luxury. She was searching for inspiration. Their honeymoon wasn't a tour of European cafes or Paris boutiques. It spanned 10 months and crossed continents: Egypt, India, Indonesia, China, and Japan. In each country, Doris was captivated by one thing: art. But not just any art, Islamic art. In Agra, India, she stood before the Taj Mahal, and something clicked. The sweeping arches, the intricate marble inlay, the celestial symmetry. These weren't just decorative, they were spiritual, eternal. Doris saw in them the blueprint for something she'd been imagining her entire life. The Cromwells originally touched down in Honolulu, intending only a brief pause in their grand honeymoon voyage. But what was meant to be a short stopover quickly turned into a transformative retreat. Enchanted by the island's serene beauty, balmy climate, and dramatic landscapes, from lush jungles to smoldering volcanoes, Doris found herself reluctant to leave. For nearly 4 months, she and James immersed themselves in Hawaiian life, exploring the islands with curiosity and often appearing in the company of Honolulu's social elite, relaxed and radiant beneath the Pacific sun. She didn't want a home. She wanted a masterpiece. She contacted a Delhi-based architect to design a marble suite, a bedroom and bathroom worthy of a Mughal queen. Every detail would be carved by Indian artisans using centuries-old techniques. But here's where it gets strange. While most honeymooners returned with souvenirs, Doris returned with a plan, a secret plan. And she wasn't going to build this palace in Manhattan or Palm Beach, no. She had found a very different location, a place few would think to look at. And in the 1930s, while the world was recovering from the Great Depression, Doris vanished into the tropical folds of Oahu with a dream no one understood. Most of America's wealth clung to cities like New York, Boston, or San Francisco. But Doris set her sights thousands of miles into the Pacific Ocean. In 1936, she quietly bought a 5-acre plot of oceanfront land in Honolulu, Hawaii. At the time, it was a sleepy paradise, remote, relatively undeveloped, and perfect for someone looking to vanish. This wasn't just about escape, this was about reinvention. She hired architect Marion Sims Wyeth and began construction on what would become one of the most expensive homes ever built in Hawaii. $1.4 million at the time, equivalent to over $28 million today. But no one really knew what she was building. Locals whispered about strange shipments arriving at the dock, tiles from Morocco, carved panels from Syria, ceramics from Iran, textiles from Turkey. Rumors circulated about rooms with no obvious purpose, secret courtyards, and long hallways that seemed to lead nowhere. And all the while, Doris stayed silent. She didn't throw lavish parties. She didn't invite journalists or cameras. She vanished inside her creation, and the rest of the world forgot her, until now. The name alone conjures fantasy, Shangri-La, a reference to the mythical paradise in James Hilton's Lost Horizon. But Doris's Shangri-La was no fiction. It was real, hauntingly so. Completed between 1936 and 1938, the mansion is not merely a house. One moment, you're on a tropical island. The next, you're stepping into 17th century Iran, then 14th century India, then an Ottoman palace glowing with Turkish tiles. And it's all real. It's a labyrinth, a 14,000 square foot temple of stone, glass, and light. It includes a playhouse, a pool, gardens, lanais, and water features flowing through almost every room. It's one part museum, one part mirage. The Mughal suite, carved from white marble and glowing with semi-precious stones, was inspired by the Taj Mahal itself. The Syrian room, with its intricate wood lattice and hand-painted ceilings, was rescued from near destruction in Damascus and painstakingly rebuilt. The Persian-inspired playhouse, facing the sea, feels like it floated ashore from another world. Every mosaic, every wooden screen, every hanging lamp was hand-selected, collected, cared for. Shangri-La is not just a home. It's a message in a bottle. Shangri-La was never meant for the public. Doris built her sanctuary not for parties, but for peace. She guarded it like a secret lover. No press was allowed. She installed guard dogs. She locked the doors. Even close friends described it as untouchable. Truman Capote, who stayed there in the 1960s, said it felt less like a home and more like a spell. Inside, the mansion breathes. Walls reflect ocean light. Courtyards echo with the splash of tiled fountains. And above all, is silence. Doris meditated here. She studied here. She mourned here. And yet, she never bragged. She never showcased it. She let it grow in silence. But Shangri-La didn't stop at its walls. Outside lies one of the most breathtaking and little-known gardens in the Pacific. Doris recreated the mythical Chahar Bagh, a 4-part Islamic garden said to mimic the rivers of paradise. She studied ancient texts. She analyzed garden blueprints from Lahore. She mapped out every path, every plant. Fragrant blossoms, reflecting pools, lotus-filled corners. Even the Hawaiian breeze seemed to change as it moved through the Mughal-style fountains. She didn't just import beauty, she rooted it in the soil of Hawaii. Doris fused architectural styles from across the Islamic world. Moroccan courtyards, Persian tiles, Mughal domes, and Syrian woodwork. Yet it was all wrapped in the cool, clean lines of modernist architecture. This wasn't a pastiche, it was a vision. She didn't simply collect artifacts. She commissioned them from the finest artisans in Iran, Morocco, Syria, and India. Every mosaic, every chandelier, every door frame was a custom dream. And once installed, it stayed precisely where Doris wanted it. But Shangri-La was only the beginning. Behind those doors lay one of the largest private collections of Islamic art ever amassed by an American. Over 2,500 pieces collected across 6 decades. Doris traveled again and again, often alone, to places most of her peers wouldn't dare. In 1938, she made her final major collecting trip, visiting Iran, Iraq, Turkey, Syria, and Egypt. Her name carried no weight there. She was just a woman searching for beauty, for meaning, and what she found she brought home. Ceramics, metalwork, paintings, glass, textiles, and even entire rooms disassembled and reassembled inside Shangri-La. Every piece had a story, every object had a soul, and none of it was for sale. She didn't display her collection to the world. It wasn't about status. It was about immersion. She lived among it, learned from it, and let it reshape her worldview. For Doris Duke, Islamic art wasn't a trend or a luxury. It was a spiritual dialogue, and still hardly anyone knew. Doris Duke died in 1993 at the age of 80. By then, her net worth hovered near $1 billion. But even at the end, she protected her sanctuary. She left specific instructions. Her Honolulu estate would become a foundation, not a tourist attraction, not a museum of wealth, but a place for study, for inspiration, for peace. In 1998, the Doris Duke Foundation for Islamic Art was officially established. Shangri-La opened its doors, not to the general public, but scholars, artists, and students of Islamic culture. An artist-in-residence program was born. Exhibits were curated with love and reverence. Eventually, 60 objects from her collection traveled the country as part of the first exhibition ever to leave the mansion. In a world where wealth is flaunted, Doris did the opposite. She disappeared into beauty. She turned her fortune into a living poem, written in tile, carved in wood, etched in marble. Today, Shangri-La stands exactly where she left it, a secret garden overlooking the Pacific, a masterpiece hidden in plain sight. And now, you've seen behind the curtain. Doris Duke wasn't the loudest heiress. She wasn't the most photographed, but she may have been the most fascinating. While others flaunted their money, she built a mystery. She didn't buy castles, she imagined one from scratch. Shangri-La isn't just a home. It's a message from a woman who didn't need the world to notice her. She only needed to build a world that made sense to her. So the next time someone talks about the world's wealthiest people, the Teslas, the tech titans, the moguls, remember Doris, the woman who looked past diamonds and yachts and instead created a palace of peace, a mansion of mystery, a place where stories from Iran, Syria, India, and Egypt could whisper through the halls. She was the richest girl in the world, and she spent her fortune unlocking the divine. Now, the door to Shangri-La is open. Will you dare to walk through it? So the next time someone says paradise, don't picture white sands and tiki torches. Picture a secret gate hidden in the folds of a Hawaiian cliff, where the richest girl in the world once dreamed of something no one could buy. Want more stories that money couldn't buy? Don't forget to turn on notifications, because the next one will give you chills.